again, everyone. I'm Dave Altizer here with Kinatika. Today we're talking about the cameras that have come out in 2017 and the ones that will be coming out hopefully by the end of this year. Check it out. Amazing stuff. Let's go. We are living in one of the most amazing times to be a photographer and a videographer. We have so many options, it's unbelievable. Let's just get started with some of the cameras that have come out and the ones that hopefully we'll see by the end of this year. This year we got two new cameras from Fuji, the X-T20 and the newly released X-E2. The X-T20 is really like a mini X-T2, and the X-E2 is kind of like a mini X-Pro 2 without the optical viewfinder. The X-T20 has the articulating screen, the X-E2 doesn't. They both do 4K. I would recommend going to your nearest camera store or lens rentals and try these cameras out and see for yourself.
Tonight I'd like to show you a new idea in picture taking.
They're really great cameras, they're really affordable. They use the amazing Fuji glass and have the amazing new sensor in them. Great cameras, thank you Fuji. Next, we're going into the Micro Four Thirds platform with Olympus and Panasonic. Starting first with Olympus. So with the new EM10 Mark III camera, we get 4K recording, which is great, always a nice thing to have. A 16 megapixel Micro Four Thirds sensor. Moving on to Panasonic. This year we got the GH5, which is the talk of the town, especially for video people and YouTubers. It's got better photo specs than the GH4. It's great for photo. The GH5 is really a Swiss Army knife when it comes to video. Panasonic also released a new cinema camera this year, the EVA-1. It's the first model of its kind. It does amazing 4K at 10-bit. It does 60 frames per second. But what's really interesting about it is it's a Super 35 sensor size, and it's got a Canon EF mount on it. Next, moving on to Nikon. This year they released the D850, which is kind of the 5D equivalent for Nikon shooters. The D850 has some amazing specs. It's got a ridiculous amount of megapixels. It's all the way up to 45.7 megapixels. It's got a much improved autofocus system. It can shoot 7 to 9 frames per second, 9 with the battery grip. But most exciting for me is it actually does a full frame 4K recording in camera. Moving on to Sony. This year we did see the Sony A9 coming into play. It's a really amazing flagship mirrorless camera from them. It's got 4K video. It's got a ridiculous burst rate of 20 frames per second, ridiculous autofocus. Unfortunately, the 4K on the camera is not very good for video. Recently we just saw the RXO camera from them. It's kind of a GoPro type camera. They're using a 1-inch sensor with a built-in lens with a fixed aperture of f4. It's really designed for more of a pro market with video as the main focus. Also recently, Sony announced these new camcorders that are really cool. The Z90 and the NX80 and the AX700. So what's really neat about these is they are 1-inch sensor camcorders with a ridiculous zoom range built into it. So they all have the amazing autofocus from the A9 with phase detect. You can touch the screen and track on things. It's a 29mm equivalent lens all the way with a 12x zoom range. So Canon released the new cinema camera this year, the C200. It came out at Cine Gear this summer. It shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second and an MP4 codec as well as a RAW codec. You get built-in NDs, all sorts of amazing things. Canon also released this year the new SL2, which I just did a review of. I really like this camera. It's really small, lightweight. In fact, I think it's one of the best all-around cameras that Canon offers today, especially at this price point. I highly recommend it. And then lastly from Canon, the XF405, the XF400, and the GX10 Vixia. The XF400 in particular is one that I'm personally looking at because you have electronic ND, you have YDR color space, which is a beautiful color space from Canon. This year from Canon, we also got the 6D Mark II. I'm not going to talk about it very much because it's not a good release. Another thing that interests me is a camera from Theta. It's their new 360-degree 4K camera. I really highly recommend people having a 360-degree camera just for those moments to capture things that are real important or vacations or things like that that you want to relive later. Another kind of interesting camera is from Polaroid of all people. It's called the One Step 2. Apparently Polaroid partnered with the Impossible Project and they worked together to create this new line of I-type cameras. It's a lot of fun to have this camera and buy film today that works on it. So really cool camera from Polaroid. So that about does it for my roundup video of the 2017 cameras. There's a lot more that were released and there's a lot more to come. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this really is an amazing time to be a photographer and a video person because of all the amazing technology that's coming into all these cameras and the price point that keeps coming down and further down. If you guys have any other cameras that you saw this year that you have questions about, make sure to leave a comment. Give me a list of some of the things that you love about these cameras. If there's anything that you want to see in the future, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Dave Altizer. Catch you next time.